Alright, today we are reacting to Developer Commentary Will Change Your Life by Lishike or Lishike. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name or if anyone gets offended by how I say this, and was very interested by the title. I am very interested in this because I have never played a developer's commentary or listened to one. So I want to kind of hear about developer commentaries and which games have them. Because probably one or two games I played in the past have one, but I've just never explored other modes than the main new game and start. So let's get a good look and
Hi, this is
see.
Gabe Newell, and welcome to the Lost Coast.
Hello, this is Sam Lake.
Hello, everybody. I am Tim Schafer. I was the project leader.
Hi, I'm Neil Druckmann, and I was the director and co-writer.
And my name is Alex.
Okay,
Welcome to
so it's like four different games that he showed. I have not played Half-Life 2 yet.
Lost Coast.
Hello, this is Sam Lake.
I'm pretty sure this is Alan Wake because Sam Lake, I have heard his name a bunch whenever hearing Alan Wake.
Hello, everybody. I am Tim.
I have no idea on what game this could be from LucasArts. I think this is Monkey Island because it looks like a 2D background and it doesn't look like a Star Wars game.
Schafer. I was the project leader.
Hi, I'm Neil Druckmann, and I was the director.
And I have not played The Last of Us 2 yet. I'm pretty sure this is The Last of Us 2 and not part 1.
And co-writer.
And my name is Alex, and I'm in love with developer commentary. But like many other stories about video game culture, this one starts in the world of cinema. At the beginning of the 80s, the Laserdisc format was introduced, a predecessor of the CD, DVD, and Blu-ray we know today, although being
I have also never watched a developer's commentary on any movies. So it is kind of interesting to hear him explain the history behind developer commentaries, even in movies, not just games.
niche at first, Laserdiscs found their audience among cinephiles. But in 1984, the Criterion Collection was founded. Yep, the same folks who now invite movie stars and Hideo Kojima into their closet to pick their favorite movies. With the goal to restore and preserve the legacy of film history, Criterion started releasing classic films on Laserdiscs, which, in addition to offering better video quality, could also store multiple audio tracks on a single disc. So they decided to take advantage of technological progress, and for the release of the original King Kong movie, they invited film historian Ronald Haver to talk about the film.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ronald Haver, and I'm here to do something which we feel is rather unique. I'm going to take you on a lecture tour of King Kong as you watch the film.
Back when the internet wasn't yet
So, just as celebratory for a movie, which is King Kong, they decided to have the director, I think it was. I have to go back and see, but they wanted him to go talk over the movie and explain scenes.
internet wasn't yet a big deal, this was a treasure trove for anyone who loved digging into the behind scenes of the filmmaking. Eventually, directors themselves started recording commentary tracks, sharing personal insights and stories. And the rest is history.
Now here it gets interesting. You see this helicopter going under a freeway overpass?
Yeah.
That's a helicopter going under a freeway overpass. The crew...
That was real?
The camera crew said, we won't shoot that. So I said, okay, fine, I'll shoot it myself.
So it's only natural that the first video game developer commentary
So I said, okay, fine, I'll shoot it myself.
So, did he actually do the helicopter himself? I'm pretty sure that was Terminator 2? I'm not 100% sure, or maybe Terminator 1.
That was real?
Oh yeah,
Camera crew
that's
said, "We won't
Terminator
shoot
2 because he's a kid and I'm pretty sure I saw the police officer Terminator. So James Cameron or somebody decided to just do the helicopter scene, or did the camera crew just say they won't like roll film just because they didn't want to see the person die, whoever was trying to go under the bridge?
So I said, okay, fine, I'll shoot it myself.
So it's only natural that the first video game developer commentary appeared in the title closely connected to the world of cinema. I've been telling you about technological progress and laserdiscs, but funnily enough, the first developer commentary actually showed up in an N64 game, Star Wars Episode 1 Battle for Naboo. Yep, a game made for a system that still used outdated cartridges. And yet, the developers at Vector 5 somehow managed to squeeze in an hour-long commentary track unlockable with the special cheat code. And these commentaries really sounded quite funny.
It's not easy being green, being the color of the grass. Thank you.
That's actually pretty funny. They were just trolling, messing around, and yet they put this commentary track in, or is that all they put?
You will edit this, I hope. Yeah, thank God.
It felt like the devs had already wrapped up the game and still had a month or so before it went gold, so they decided to just have fun and record their thoughts while replaying what they actually managed to create.
You know, they have... Oh, forget it. I don't know. I hate this.
I'm trying to see, is this actually a video of the game? Or is this just the player playing the game and then you hear the commentary track?
You could stop talking. I don't want to talk anymore. Let me give you over to. No, you're doing fine. I'm not doing fine. That's the whole point.
That just reminds me so much of my first YouTube videos where I'm just trying to talk, fill up time, because they're probably already committed to this commentary thing. It's like, it's going to go on the disc, cartridge, whatever. And so we gotta make it good, so fill it out for at least an hour.
Phones, weird background noises, and no script whatsoever. It's literally just a group of devs hanging out, playing their game, and chatting about what they see on the screen. It's
Basically a podcast.
basically a recorded conversation on the kitchen, which makes the whole talk pretty cozy and fun. Back in the day, IGN even wrote an article praising this small but beautiful homage to DVD bonus features. The editor have even tried to predict the beginning of a major development trend to come. And well, IGN were wrong here. There was no major wave of developer commentaries, but a few studios did embrace the concept, and here I am to talk about the most interesting examples of developer commentary in games. But before we go any further, please share in the comments below if you ever played the game with developer commentary, and what you have felt during the playthrough.
Yeah, as I said, I have never played a developer commentary. I have apparently played one, Alan Wake, but I have never heard them. And so I may go do that since I have beaten Alan Wake recently.
And, don't forget to like and subscribe. You will really help me with that. Thank you. Among game studios, no other company has been as consistent with developer commentary as Valve. Over the last 20 years, Valve has recorded more than 12 hours of commentary content, spread across Half-Life 2 with episodes, Team Fortress 2, both Portals with Left 4 Dead, and Half-Life Alyx. They created a system called Commentary Notes, which consists of little speech bubbles scattered throughout the game. When you trigger them, they play audio clips from the developers.
Our initial versions of TF2 were focused on trying to build a game around the concept of a commander, a single player who had a real-time strategy view of the battlefield. He would be responsible for building structures and providing a unifying strategy for the team. But there were significant design challenges involved. For instance, how do we design the game such that the commander can have fun, and at the same time ensure that the players down on the ground can have fun? How do we ensure that the players and the commander value the output of each other?
Well, they couldn't, and that's why the commander never got into the game.
How do we ensure that the game is still fun if you have a terrible commander, or conversely, if you're a great commander with a terrible team? We spent many months working on these and other issues, and never really reached a point where we were satisfied. In addition, our game had become overly complex, due to our attempts to add a strategy layer deep enough to warrant the addition of the commander in the first place. In the end, we made the hard decision to remove him from the game and moved on.
Each clip covers one topic from one team member who was directly responsible for that element of the game. Yes, they were clearly reading from notes. But that's okay, because that kind of delivery is clean and full of insight. If Factor 5 was all about improvising and vibing, Valve chose the language of facts. Their commentary tracks is like an audio version of game design diaries, structured and full of concrete examples about what worked, what didn't, and what they have done to make everything work.
The most common attitude toward music in multiplayer games is that it just gets in the way. We wanted the music in Left 4 Dead to heighten the key emotional elements that should be inherent in a horror game, keeping in mind that everything in a game should contribute to gameplay. Therefore, we made a simple set of goals that the music should meet to keep people from turning it off. Players who leave the music on are treated to a variety of subtle audio cues that not only deepen the horror experience, but make them better players.
Ah, damn, I was really hoping they would show an example of it, but the doon, 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 like the witch, or whenever you would alert the horde. Also, what is this? A third-person mode? Is this just for the developer's commentary? Or is this like a mod that they have?
To a variety of subtle audio cues that not only deepen the horror experience, but make them better players.
In original Portal, there are 20 commentary notes dedicated to the sole part of playtesting.
We noticed early playtesters.
Some playtesters. But playtesters.
Devs walk us through how early design ideas failed, or how players misunderstood certain mechanics, and what they did to fix it all.
Anyone designing a post-apocalyptic city has to deal with the problem of how to light it. Initially, our take on it was that the city still had power. You could see lights in many windows, and the streetlights were all lit up. It didn't give us the atmosphere we wanted, but we felt we needed those light sources. When we started to unify the art and lighting design, one of the decisions was to eliminate a lot of lights. This gave us an opportunity to come up with other ways of bringing light into scenes. As we removed lights, we found we were also removing any sense of normality in the city. Without lit windows, or even the illuminated signage in front of stores, we removed some familiarity from the player's experience. Things are lit from lower angles than they would expect, from car headlights and oil barrel fires. These dramatic angles really enhance the sense of a creepy, desolate, almost hopeless environment. Now it's a city that you've seen, but not in a way that you've ever seen it before. Something's amiss. Something's off.
In one of those clips, we also can hear Victor.
Never seen it before. Something's amiss. Something's off.
In one of those.
That does give some fascinating insights into their minds. Like, damn, if the cities would have been filled with lights, if like it was only like day 2, day 3 of the infection and Left 4 Dead, and they still had all the lights, it wouldn't have been as creepy. But when they explain it like that you just see barrels on fire, the cars that are still on because people were ripped out of them, yeah, that is like a more creepy thought than what you would have gotten in the prototype.
Those clips, we also can hear Viktor Antonov, the legendary art director behind Half-Life 2 and Dishonored, who sadly passed away earlier this year.
We wanted to transition from a bright, wide-open space into a tighter, closed one to showcase HDR's dynamic tone mapping. We also like to focus on contrasting elements in our settings, like ancient human architecture and futuristic combine technology. A monastery fit these requirements perfectly. Monasteries are generally isolated, unlit, and built ages ago. They provide a great backdrop for the contrasting combine technology. When we build fictional settings, we try to ground them by basing them off a real-world location. We use this location as a design constraint that forces a logical consistency behind the art choices.
These commentaries give us a glimpse into Valve's highly iterative process of game making. Testing, gathering feedback, refining, and repeating until things feel just right.
Sort of the idea of Valve is that everything is planned. Everything is worked out in advance. But that's a big fat lie. Because the initial idea is started, and they bring an actor into the studio and they say, say these words for us. Say this computer-generated voice for us. Okay, I'll do that. Well, then that gives the creators other ideas. And it's a rolling process. You roll from one idea into the next idea.
That's also interesting that they let the voice actors have their own developer commentary section. So you not only hear the programmer's side of it, but you also hear the voice actors in the process to how they said some of those iconic lines.
Audio tracks aren't just cool extras. They're real developer diaries packed with useful insight. If you're a young game developer or just someone curious about how games are made, this stuff is real treasure. But what if you totally don't care about any of it? Well, I'm here exactly to tell you that you should, because sometimes commentary doesn't just add context. They completely transform the way you see the video game. Let's take a minute and speak about Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima didn't have an easy childhood. When he was just 13 years old, his father King Kojima died suddenly from an acute subarachnoid hemorrhage. As the seizure took hold, his father looked at him through convulsions, as he was trying to say something, but the words never came.
All my games, I'm not conscious of it, but they are stories of fathers and sons. My background is that my father passed away when I was 13 years old, and I didn't have any father figure to talk to when I needed to. Now, I'm a father and I have children. I still really don't know the real meaning of father and son relationships.
Death Stranding spoilers in 1, 2.
Should I am planning to play it one day. I think I will skip this part.
Moments like this really humanize our favorite titles, strongly connecting their narratives to real-life context, emotions, and lived experience. The more we understand the creators behind these games, their feelings, their ideas, and their intentions, the more we understand the game themselves, and the richer, more complete our experience becomes. Holding all that in mind, let's continue with the remasters of classic LucasArts adventure games, all of which feature very cool developer commentary.
My name's Tim Schafer. I helped get coffee for these guys. and then at night I redid everything that they did, and I was an assistant designer programmer. That's the official title.
That was our official title.
Yeah.
You can listen to hours of industry legends reflecting on their work and the game dev scene of the 90s. They're just sitting together, playing their old games, and sharing memories. It all feels incredibly natural. You can tell that guys have known each other for decades. They have clearly been through fire and water, developing these gems.
So this was actually the art test I took.
Grim Fandango. I have wanted to play this game for a while, and that's cool that it has a developer's commentary. Double Fine. I'm guessing he's going studio by studio that have developer commentaries.
I had to make this whole scene in a day.
Really?
No. Did they pay you for that?
What? A day?
Barely.
Wow.
I was so scared.
By the way, Double Fine Productions, which was founded by former LucasArts employees, has also done amazing work in preserving game development history. On their YouTube channel, they ran a series called Devs Play. As you may already guessed, for these videos they invite different developers to play and comment their own video games. Out of all the episodes, I highly recommend checking out the ones with Koji Igarashi, creator of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, John Romero, co-creator of Doom.
Hey, here's kind of a golden rule of level design. Finish the first level last.
Yep.
Because then you've learned everything about the game's level design, and you're going to put it all on the first level where you want people to get excited anyway.
Yep.
So, so I'm like, let the middle of the game kind of be the less interesting part and make the beginning and the end more exciting.
And my personal favorite, Patrice Desilets, playing through Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time and Assassin's Creed 2.
We were like, let's say, maybe a year or 9 months into Sands of Time when Eco came out. And so we spent an entire day going through the game, the entire team together.
Yeah.
Sitting down, looking at it, playing it, discussing it, brainstorming.
That's interesting. The people behind Prince of Persia: Sands of Time decided to play a competitor's game because its mechanics are very much like their own. And I don't know if they were worried or just wanting to see what Eco did that was probably different than theirs and take notes on what they should add to their game or what to avoid.
See, you're already playing. That was really important. Never actually lose control and stop playing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to play a game, just watch a movie.
Another pretty weird example of developer commentary in games is The Last of Us Part 2. Or to be precise, Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Because
Last of Us Part 2 Remastered can't even just be Last of Us Part 2. But is that really only on the remastered version? I'm surprised there is no commentary on Part 1.
I guess you have to somehow justify the $10 upgrade.
Yeah, that is crazy. Players that have purchased this, the PS4 edition of Part 2, can get an upgrade PS5 remastered $10. So they added extra value by putting the developer's commentary. I wonder, does it go all throughout the game? So is it like 20 hours of commentary? Or is it only like a few parts of commentary? That's what I really want to know.
In this game, you can hear game director Neil Druckmann, writer Haley Gross, and the voice actors behind Ellie, Dina, Joe, and Abby, but only during the cutscenes. And that's the strange part. They actually built an in-game commentary system, similar to what Valve did, and even used it in the Lost Levels section, a bonus mode where you can explore unfinished cut levels that didn't make it to the final game. In these sections, the developers openly discuss narrative and game design aspects of their work.
This clicker momentarily turned into Joel to show Ellie's PTSD from what happened to Joel at the start of the game. Ultimately, we decided to save this moment for the farm level, as it was more impactful there because it could become the centrepiece of that experience. Whereas in the series, we weren't able to make it as much of a narrative point and give it the breathing room and reaction time that it deserves, given the tight space.
And it's genuinely fascinating thing to listen to, which makes it even more a shame that the rest of the game doesn't feature the same kind of commentary. By the way, The Last of Us Part 1 Remake also includes director's commentary, but again, only for the cutscenes. It's kinda sad how few studios put includes director's commentary. The game doesn't feature the same kind of commentary. By the way, The Last of Us Part 1 Remake also includes director's commentary, but again, only for the cutscenes.
Only for the cutscenes? What? I am so confused. I am going to need subtitles, but only for the cutscenes. Okay, so that makes sense. I also want to know
The Last
this.
of Us Part 1 Remake also includes director's commentary. Doesn't feature the same kind of commentary. By the way,
the rest of the game doesn't feature the same kind of commentary, so what does that mean? Because apparently in the unfinished levels, there are those commentary boxes, But what other commentary does the rest of the game have? I am now super interested in what the commentary is for the rest of the game. Like, I'm guessing it's not as good as the commentary boxes, because I'm guessing you probably got paragraphs of them explaining stuff. I'm guessing you're only getting some paragraphs every, let's say 15, 20 minutes, possibly?
By the way, The Last of Us Part 1 Remake also includes director's commentary, but again, only for the cutscenes. It's kind of sad how few studios put effort into creating developer commentaries, even 20 years later when the first commentary actually appeared. Because today, game developers mainly share interesting facts about game development through numerous interviews or podcasts.
A sketch of the core team here, positioned as if we were the resistance in the Terminator world, and there's me in the back, and I remember David Plunkett here, the artist who drew it, just said, "Todd, I gave you the biggest gun."
Where things they say can generate news, clicks, and viral reactions, which can be redirected to the game itself, and finally become converted into the game sales. Meanwhile, other studios intentionally choose to stay quiet, to take advantage of, as Sam Lake once said,
You know, the unanswered mystery.
and hey, that's totally their call, but at some point, I really wish to hear commentary from, for example, developers of Devil May Cry 2.
Oh, that's fucking good
What do
clip.
you want to say with this? But what about other Naughty Dog games? I mean, Uncharted, their most movie-like video games. Surely they must include some developer insights, or not a single Uncharted game features a developer commentary mode. But you know what does? Jak 3. And even Jak X Combat Racing. Yes, developer commentary for the cutscenes in Jak X Racing.
That's funny as hell. It's like, these series that I care for don't get shit, but then Jak 3 and Jak Racing get developer commentary. That's funny as fuck.
Can you believe that? Naughty Dog treated commentary as something you had to earn. You had to collect those goddamn orbs, and only then you would unlock the privilege of hearing the creators reflect on their own game, or rather cutscenes in their own game. The same goes for the first Sly Cooper game, where developer commentary is unlocked as a reward for beating the Master Thief sprint in any level. And then there is a Tactical Bridge Wizards, a game that does have developer commentary, but only if you have bought the Luke Special or whatever edition of the game.
Oh, I hate that so much. Like, I have seen so many games where they sell the full soundtrack or some other kind of bonus. I guess some of them have probably offered commentary bonuses, but as soon as I see full soundtrack, you've already lost me in anything that's special, deluxe editions.
And you know what?
I mean, it's alright, like...
It's alright.
Almost every AAA game has 2 or 3...
Let's see how those...
I mean, it's alright, like...
Let's be real. Almost every...
CD collection set? Basically, he's going over that anything to add extra value on other editions, they will always put the developer's commentary or anything else in with those other editions to make more value.
Every AAA game has 2 or 3 different editions anyway. And if you're going to lock something behind a paywall, instead of useless digital soundtracks or art books, let it be at least something useful for God's sake. Oh, and as we're speaking of God...
Oh God! No! 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 No!
Getting over it with Bennett 40. Yeah, you know this game. Unless you manually turn the audio off, you have to play it with Bennett 40's commentary running the entire time. His voice is like the voice of the God speaking right to you whenever you fall from great distances, making the whole situation even more miserable and saltier with his dumb philosophical speeches.
Now is the happiness I had before. That's the deal. C.S. Lewis.
Also, this is an example of rare case, where the developer's voice becomes inseparable from the game itself.
Deadpool, it's Peter Della Penna from High Moon Studios. You know, the guy you kept calling Dickhead when you cornered me in the parking lot the other night? Anyway, let's go over your proposal. Not gonna pretend I understand any of it, but the answer is no. We're gonna pass on your big game idea.
Oh, and speaking of rare things, how about developer commentary from Japanese devs? Due to language barrier, Japanese developers rarely leave a commentary to their own games.
But there's a real 360p diamond over there.
Around 15 years ago, Hideki Kamiya completely beat original Bayonetta with extensive commentaries to many of the development backstage stories.
今、深夜1時ちょっと過ぎ、まあ自宅なんですけども、まあ自宅。
Oh, that's so sad, but also so cool. He was literally playing it like his own commentary channel on YouTube, or making a home video where he's saying, "I'm at home, home alone and lonely. I will be playing the game tonight by myself. Aw, that's so sad, but also so cool. Like, they're just like us, these legendary people. Almost lost in translation.
It's almost 10 hours of Hideki Kamiya playing and commenting his own game. And believe me, it's really worth checking out.
ここはあれですね。親とこう一緒にプレイしてると気まずくなるシーンですね。
I seen you might feel a little uncomfortable about watching with your parents, but damn, we designed that scene so well.
Although I previously mentioned language barrier, it did not affect developer commentary in Metro Exodus, which were recorded in Russian but featured translated subtitles.
Весна — первый уровень, и игрок видит результаты своих решений, принятых на предыдущих уровнях. На нем же мы отрабатывали технологию реакции мира на изменения судеб персонажа. Забавный баг. В одной из версий скорбящие о потере князя спартанцы дружно выпивали за упокой его души, вместе с самим усопшим.
Another example of non-English developers adding commentary to their games comes from Remedy. Although they're a Finland-based studio, the Scandinavian team recorded audio for the first Alan Wake in English. They used a small square in the bottom left corner of the screen, where developers would occasionally pop up to share thoughts whenever they had something relevant to say. Later on, Alan Wake Remastered featured its own commentary track, this time narrated solo by Sam Blake. And well, it felt kinda lame. In his audio track, Sam mostly talks about the overall legacy of the original Alan Wake, without offering much in the way of scene-specific insight.
Huh, that's interesting. So if you have the original version, you can hear the original developer's track. If you have the remastered, it's a completely different one by only Sam Lake. Him just glazing the original Alan Wake.
It ends up feeling a bit disconnected from what's actually happening on screen. It feels more like a retrospective podcast you find on YouTube than an in-game commentary. By the way, there are many hours of developer commentary out there on YouTube. Just like Hideki Kamiya, many developers choose to simply record their playthrough and post them on YouTube. Game director Frederick Olson playing through Amnesia: The Bunker, the journey development leads commenting on their game, or the Fear devs from the recently shut down Monolith Productions commenting first hour of their game. These videos have only a few thousand views, sometimes just a few hundred, but they carry a lot of meaning if you're a fan of those games. And you're a very lucky person if you're a fan of Deus Ex Human Revolution or the Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from the Butcher Bay. These two games feature some of the beef.
I can't believe how he said Butcher Bay. Hold on, let's go back.
Deus Ex Human Revolution or the Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from the Butcher Bay.
He says Butcher Bay.
These two games feature some of the beefiest, longest, and most informative developer commentaries to date. Absolutely worth checking out, and you should definitely turn them on if you're planning to replay either one in the future.
In this room you will notice there are a lot of boxes. The box is a plague that has been in every kind of game that has a sci-fi setting from the beginning. And then the reason that the box is so overused in this kind of setting is that it's an extremely convenient tool when you create gameplay. The problem is that they're used everywhere and in every game, so it's very easy to overuse them, which I believe in some areas we have in this game. So, in conclusion, I apologize for the excessive amount of boxes in the game, but they're there for a reason, and we didn't really have any option but to go nuts on the box front.
Of course, the recording and all that went on during like a 3-year process. So when Elias Tufexis, who plays Adam Jensen, came in, I mean, there's a certain evolution over time that takes place organically of trying to find the character.
When an actor gets into his role over time,
once he found the voice, we never had to like bring him back and say, "Oh, listen to this," and we think you're a bit different. But you can tell that he hadn't quite perfectly found it yet. And in fact, there was one line that bugged me for like 3 years, and we did a retake at the end where he really stepped out of his character because we were still trying to define the box of, okay, well, when you get really angry, this is how angry you get. And we were trying to define that and saying, well, think of Jensen more as a Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood never really yells, but you can tell when he's really pissed just through the sort of grimace in the voice, And he really took that to heart, and I remember he came back, he goes, I watched Unforgiven for like 3 days, and he's like,
damn, dude went and started to research the movie, I guess, for Clint Eastwood. I have never really watched his movies, but that is some dedication that as soon as he gets some feedback, go watch this, get the example, and I was like, alright, I know what to do now. I've been practicing for a couple days.
I know exactly how I want to play it, because it's a very difficult scene for him, because he's got to be mad and sort of toy with them, and they have a history, but yet Jensen has to be, you're the hero, so you got to be calm, cool, and collected. Yeah. So it was quite challenging for him early on when he was still trying to redo it.
And he did actually. This was one of the first things he ever did. And 4 years later, as we're finishing recording, we had to do a retake for the social log, and he heard himself and said, Oh my god, that's horrible. I'll do it all over for free, I swear. But unfortunately, we couldn't too much was on it. So,
so now you know Elias to Fexes will work for free. In my opinion, these two do the best job of capturing the feeling of playing a game with someone beside you, like having a co-pilot, except this time, you listen to the people who actually made what you're playing. When I was a kid, I spent most of my childhood sitting in a chair next to my brother, watching him play Devil May Cry 4, Skyrim, LA Noire, and other classics from PS3,
God, I'm getting so many memories, getting some flashbacks too when I used to be on my computer playing Minecraft or trying to play Steam game on a Mac. For all these other games that are popping up, I just remember being on my floor playing on my 360 Mass Effect 2, Battlefield 3, and a couple of the other games he mentioned.
watching him play Devil May Cry 4, Skyrim,
Skyrim and LA Noire, I did play.
And other classics from PS3, X360 era.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why whenever I hear someone else's voice during my own playthrough, I subconsciously travel back in time, feeling like I'm the same kid again, reliving the best moments of my life. Thank you for watching. I really wanted to include more of the actual developer commentaries in this video, but it would severely hurt the tempo of script. So instead, I'm here just to encourage you to dive into the whole topic by yourself. I have left all the links for every mentioned game commentary in the video description. There are hours of conversations about very interesting things, so you may finally start spending time for something really interesting and useful, instead of
ucap seorang anomal monkey.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video.
Ucap seorang anomal monkey.
Monkey. That's funny as hell. I just love that song. I've heard that song in so many TikToks, Instagram Reels, and I don't know where that's from, but that's funny as hell. But yeah, that was overall a great video. I learned quite a bit about some games that have developer commentary. They gave the information that I thought they would give, like the insight to the games, but I'm just glad that he could kind of point me in some directions of which games that have them, and also that little lesson in the beginning about some of the first movies to have them. And yeah, I learned quite a lot that I didn't know about. And maybe I'll check out some developer commentaries whenever I have time, get through my backlog of games. If you guys enjoyed his video, please make sure to like, subscribe to his channel, and share his video. And if you guys enjoyed my reaction and commentary to this video, please follow all my social medias like my Twitter, my Twitch, my YouTube, my DLive, my TikTok, my Kick, Rumble, Odyssey, and Patreon. And check out my second YouTube channel, and like and comment on all my videos, and even join my Discord. There you can stay up to date with everything I choose to do, where my streams, videos, or anything else. But yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.